Stand by to receive our transmission.
Where are you boys from in the world?
Alabama, sir.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome to the Bama Geeks podcast. We are four friends diving into our favorite pop culture topics with a dash of Southern charm.
We have the tools, we have talent. It's Miller time.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Wait, what? Crazy? You didn't say I was crazy.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
You want something done, you've got to do it yourself.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
So grab your biscuits and gravy, a glass of sweet tea, and enjoy the nerdy hospitality of Brock and Jessica Parker, Bo Bearden, and Kevin Gardner.
This is the way.
This is the way.
And welcome into episode 12 of the Bama Geeks. We hope you're doing well. One of us is not. You've only got 3 of the Bama Geeks on here this time. So I'm Brock, and who's with me tonight? Me.
Yes, they decided to let me. Yeah. Well, it's, as I was saying, it's the balance is thrown off. What is I, Bo?
And it's me, Kevin.
That's right. You don't hear the lone female voice. Jess she's here. She is near me, but her voice is not. So it's Sunday, as we always record this, and she had a little bit of a tickle in the back of her throat, which we are watching closely and hoping she's going to be okay. But I will tell you, this past week at work, she has worked until she's probably worked 12 to 14 hours each day at work. So she's been tired. So her throat had a little bit of a tickle in it, and she went to the grocery store today and came back. And just within a 2-hour span of her being gone and coming back, her voice just disappeared. So she is unfortunately not here. She's here, but not here. You got all the testosterone tonight, none of the estrogen. We're sorry. But we're still going to trudge ahead, because if we didn't record, then you wouldn't hear us again for probably a month and a half, because the next time we're scheduled to record, we're going to be at Dragon Con. And so we're not going to do the podcast there. So there might be a little brief episode just saying, hi, we're not here, just to keep the uploads going. But we're going to be nowhere to be found. So after this one, it's going to be about a month before you hear us do another full episode. So hang in there, listen to some of the old ones that we've got for you, and get caught up. Just think of it that way. It's your chance to get caught up on any episode you haven't heard yet.
Or you could just go back and just listen to the episode on Mac and Me again. And that was a good one.
That's the pinnacle so far.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. The one about peanut butter solution was pretty good.
No.
That's what I love. Our podcast has been defined by Mac and Me and peanut butter solution. That has been the cornerstone.
So this episode, we're just going to shoot the breeze. And we'll talk a little bit about Dragon Con, since we are going to be there. They have come down with some new mandates. If you haven't heard, that means you're probably not going to Dragon Con. But we'll talk about that this weekend. We have relaxed and enjoyed some wrestling, some athletic theater, if you will. SummerSlam was this past weekend. AEW CM Punk returned. And, we'll touch briefly on that because, well, it's topical. It's just happened. And something that is topical for all of us, the season is upon us. It's almost time for Halloween. So Spirit Halloween stores. Spirit Halloween. Yeah, spoopy. Spirit Halloween stores have started opening. We'll touch on some, I don't know, what are some things we want to get this year? What are some things that maybe some of the other stores have put out that we've seen? So we'll touch on Halloween just a little bit and see what our plans for decorations are.
And I want to tell you guys about what I'm thinking of doing for my Halloween display this year. And I also want to go over what I did last year to just let you guys know how I'm upping the ante this year.
Well, we look forward to that comparison and hearing those plans. Jess and I will buy stuff. We won't ever put it up. It's just, that's how we roll. Like we barely put up Christmas stuff. And that's just because I never get outside. We'll put stuff up inside, but we never put anything up outside. But we're not going to talk about Christmas.
There you go. There you go.
It's not Christmas time yet. Stay away, Mariah Carey. It's not your season yet.
Bo has an aversion to early Christmas decorations like he does mayonnaise.
Yeah. Everyone thinks I hate the holiday, but no, actually, I enjoy Christmas. I just people have gone so overboard on it, and I was okay with it. They took November, but they have been slowly fighting to take Halloween. And I'm sorry, I will be one of those people that would fight it tooth and nail. It makes me even more happy that Halloween is the minor decoration inconvenience at stores to Christmas nuts.
Yes. And I absolutely love Halloween because, you know what? Call me crazy, but I think kids should be scared every once in a while. We always should have kids to be able to, go by my house or a haunted house that's been converted into a haunted house and can actually be scared,
I agree.
You got to have that balance, You got the Thanksgiving, Christmas style, the happy time, joyous, and then you should have the little bit of the fear, the kind of the whole, it's always darkest before the dawn, I guess, type thing.
All right, Gandalf.
Oh. Or is that Commissioner Gordon in The Dark Knight?
A little column A, a little column B. But I think Commissioner Gordon, yes.
Didn't Gandalf say something like that? No, his was the whole thing where it was on the seventh night or whatever, I will come over this hill, and I don't remember what he said.
I got to brush up on my Lord of the Rings too. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it.
All I know is he told him he would be back, and he came back, and he had all the troops.
Well, speaking of which, as I was throwing around, Lord of the Rings, the flashback cinema, a couple weeks ago, I saw The Iron Giant with my family, which is just, that movie's perfect. Can't beat that movie. But I want to say in the coming weeks, they're going to be doing the Lord of the Rings trilogy pretty soon. So if you haven't seen it in the theater, there's your chance to do it again.
I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get booed. I have never seen Iron Giant. I have never watched that movie. I have it, and I have never gotten around to watching it.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I understand, because that was 99-ish.
Yeah, but wasn't that Vin Diesel at his best?
Probably between that and Saving Private Ryan and Pitch Black, yeah.
Yeah.
Then that was before he became about family.
Well, Kevin, you're not alone. I've never seen it either.
Oh, guys.
Wow.
It just hit at a time in my life where I didn't even remember it came out, till Bo mentioned it.
It went past me too, honestly. And it was just, I think it was at a time in my life where I just didn't need it. But I've always heard stories of how, the portrayal and then the ending that supposedly happens is all sad and stuff. And it's I'll sit down and I'm like, I just want to watch a movie. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be sad.
Well, the sad, it's not a sad, depressing sad. It's kind of that good, happy moment sad, if that makes sense,
It's not Old Yeller.
Yeah, it's not the first 10 minutes above. No.
Oh, stop. Put that in my consciousness.
Oh my God.
That's my judgment on people's soul. If you're not sobbing in the first 10 minutes of Up, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. You're probably a sociopath or something. Kevin says that if you didn't cry at the beginning of Up, you're a sociopath.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Send all your letters to Bama Geeks.
It's BamaGeeks@gmail.com. We will forward them to Kevin for you.
There you go.
All right, I'm going into Gmail right now, putting in a filter. I think from BamaGeeks@gmail.com will go straight to the trash. So don't count on any feedback, guys.
He'll even block us on private messenger. So we better be careful.
I'll show you sociopaths.
I just didn't appreciate the beginning of it, so I didn't cry. I'm a real man.
So what else has been happening in the last couple of weeks?
We live here in Alabama. It is incredibly. It's August. It's like the most humid time of the year for us.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a riding mower, you have a death wish for mowing your grass outside. My property, I live in Childersburg. My property is right at half an acre. You like half an acre or whatever. You know, I could go out there and cut that by hand with a pair of scissors, and it's no big deal. Oh no, not in Alabama weather. You can't. No, I mean, it doesn't matter what time of day you start. 6 p.m., 9 a.m. You can start in the middle of the night. It's still. I mean, you're either going to be running into the pop-up thunderstorm, which we get every day, or you're going. Which, hey, by the way, we did today too. Or you're going to be running into mosquitoes. So it's like choose your poison. You're either going to die of heat exhaustion or, you know, lose a pint or more of blood from the mosquitoes, or both, depending on if you're, you know, if that's your thing. I don't know. I mean, if you just want to do that. So, you know, the whole reason I mentioned that is this was I don't even know how many times I've mowed the grass. You know, I try to be a good neighbor and keep my grass all nice and cut. But I got up this morning and I was like, I had to psych myself up to get outside and mow because I knew that I was just going to die because I poked my head outside and I was like, it's like those, It's a Southern Thing commercials or their videos where, the characters got out of their car and all of a sudden their hair and everything was damp and wet and whatnot. It's kind of like you put your hand out the door and then you pull it back in and it's like this beating sweat already. It's like, okay, yeah, today's going to suck. But, you know, you only have so much free time to do these things. So you obviously you need to do it. If you're going to be a responsible homeowner, you've got to, you know, take care of the stuff. Yeah. Today was an interesting day and that, you know, I almost had 2 heat strokes and plenty of downtime and hydration. So yeah, that's pretty much what my weekends has been. It's psyching myself up to do to mow the yard and then actually doing it and quite nearly dying from it.
I feel you because, like I said, I did mine yesterday and like I was out there and like the whole time I was just a big giant dripping ball of sweat. And I don't know about you. This is like now it's going to be the old grumbling guys podcast here, but especially this year, it has been ridiculously wet this summer. And I don't know about you, Kevin, but every time I've cut, normally last year, you know, you'd have a break where it'd be dry for a day or two and your grass would be all right. I swear it does not matter what time of day or whatever over this summer. Like every time I've cut my grass this summer, it is still soaking wet. Yep. And that adds to even more fun of push mowing. So.
Yeah. It's, I actually didn't let mine get very long. I got it. I think that got maybe a half an inch to an inch more. I mean, it's just enough to where you start seeing the stalks stick up. So you start looking like you're living like a hobo. You know, it's like you got to get out there and cut it because it's like, you know, got that whole dad middle-aged guy feel. It's like I gotta keep my lawn looking good. You know.
Yep.
So you're out there. You've just got to cut it. And it really wasn't that bad, but I did notice the same thing where it was like I had to clean out the bottom of the mower at least once just to get the goopy grass that was just because
I don't think it's the height, it's the thickness. Like my yard is really thick and it's just like like it's make 2 pass, stop, clog up, me curse a little bit, restart the mower, clean it out, you know, then begin again.
I've had this whole thing going on about where I live. I want to be fully electric. I mean, I got the electric car and everything I have is electric. And I actually bought an electric riding mower and I kept it for a whole 1/2 of a cut. And then I realized it was a Cub Cadet mower and it was complete garbage. I'd always heard that Cub Cadet mowers were great and I'm sure they are, but this one was just garbage. It was just not great at all. And given what I paid for it, the thing went straight back to Home Depot and I have yet to buy another one. So I was talking in the pre-show with Brock a little bit about this, but I'm kind of in this holding pattern where I'm like, can I do this another 5 or 6 times this year and hold out and wait to see if there's any other good EV mowers next year? Or do I need to go ahead and bite the bullet and buy another one or try another one? So it's like, I kind of want to see if I can last. But at the same time, things like today happen and I'm like, you know, one of these times I'm just going to like fall over and somebody's going to find me, you know? So it's just whether or not I'm willing to wait it out. So I'm just kind of partially being stubborn there, I guess.
Well, how far are like the EV motors on? That's the first I know them is you talking about them. I hadn't really paid attention, but I mean, I'm sure they're still kind of newish.
I mean, the one that I bought was a Cub Cadet with a lithium ion battery in it, and it would have lasted. I probably could have cut the yard 3 times, like fully cut it with no problem without even charging it.
Oh, wow.
But the one that, if I do wind up getting one, the one I'm looking at is a Ryobi.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't bore you guys with the differences in specs, but just the I've already done that to Brock, so I'm not going to do it again. But the difference is, that one's got a larger battery in it, and I could probably cut my yard 4, maybe 5 times before I ever even charged it again. So I'm sure people are listening and going, just go buy it, dude. It's the principle of the thing, guys. Yeah. It's the principle of it. It's like, I had a good mower, the one that I had my heart set on. It turned out to be garbage. So it's like I've got like buyer's remorse, I guess, a little bit. And I'm like, I kind of want to wait and see. Like I use Greenworks products on just about everything. Like everything I have is Greenworks. And I'm like, Greenworks is doing commercial mowers only right now, commercial riding mowers. Like I want to see maybe next year they'll come out with a product line where they're focusing towards consumers. Because I would love to have one of their mowers. But, it's just a matter of whether that happens or not. I don't know. I don't have the in on that. So if we have any industry insiders who could come in, BamaGeeks@gmail.com, email and let us know if Greenworks is going to make a consumer mower next season, please. Because I would like to know that.
Problem is, though, you've already filtered out BamaGeeks@gmail.com, so you won't see it.
No. Okay. Don't you hit me with logic, sir. Okay. I will just have one of you guys tell me. Okay. And then I'll go read that one because okay. All right. I won't do the filter to go to the trash can. I'll do it just to archive it so that I can read it.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Deal, guys. Deal.
Speaking of the principle of the thing, I refuse to cut grass. That's been one of my lifelong most hated chores. And it all stems back to my 10th birthday. My dad, for my birthday, gave me a pushing mower.
What?
That was my 10th birthday present. I hit double digits. I got a push mower. And I've never forgotten it. I have forgiven Dad, but I have never forgotten it. And because of that, I have my entire life hated cutting the grass. So, hey, $40 every 2 weeks goes to somebody else to cut our yard. I refuse to do it.
Was your dad trying to tell you something like he wanted you to start mowing the grass?
That was a very good hint.
I mean, I'm looking forward to my son getting old enough to cut grass, but I don't think I'm going to drop a mower on it. I mean,
no.
So was it like a gas mower or was it like just a little toy one? Really?
Oh,
he gave you a gas mower.
A Briggs & Stratton push mower. And it wasn't self-propelled either.
Oh, shoot. Self-propelled's only been around the last decade or two, really.
Look, do not show my age, okay?
Hey, now.
I mean, look, you guys are both dads, right? I mean, both you just said you wouldn't do that. I mean, how would that enter into your mind that would be a good gift for a 10-year-old? You
don't know my dad.
No, I don't. But I'm trying to think of where your brain would be. Not only is it, I could potentially see where you might think that would be, but it's also a very dangerous device to give to a kid, which you're essentially a kid still, that you could really mess yourself up if you were goofing around with it. So
Dad was born in 1933. He's seen some stuff over his life, and he was very much, boy, grow a pair and get out there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was, my dad was hard knocks.
So at 12 years old, was he planning on getting you your first tractor so you could go out and start doing the fields and stuff?
We had a tractor, and I was driving the tractor before I was 12.
Wow.
I'm trying to think. I was probably 8 or 9 when he started letting me drive the tractor. Now, driving the tractor was fun. Don't ever get me wrong on that. I love driving the tractor because why? You could sit on it and ride on it. He gave me a push mower at 10 years old, and our yard, I think we had probably an acre and a half on a push mower with really thick grass.
Ooh.
It might have been 2 acres. So I Yeah.
Well, no, that's a legitimate reason to have a gripe about lawn care.
I mean, so he was born in 33, so he was greatest generation, right? So, I mean, I could definitely understand that now that I know when he was born, because greatest generation, they were very go-getter, just in general, I don't like generalizing generations like a lot of media does, but it just, that generation, they were very like,
different mindset.
Get out there and do it, take a salt tablet, walk it off kind of thing, so I could definitely see why he would think that would be like, I'm just prepping you for life, son. This is the way things are going to be. You're going to have to mow grass. But, from our perspective, we're like, yeah, but I don't have to yet.
Yeah, he went straight from greatest generation. There was no baby boomer in my bloodline. It was we went straight from the greatest generation to Generation X. Now my sisters, they're baby boomers, but they're my half sisters. I didn't live with them as a child. I only visited with them. So for me, it was greatest generation raises Generation X.
Wow.
That is a big generational gap there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dad and I, I could put me down on the couch with a therapist for this one. As a kid, Dad and I, we didn't gel for most of my childhood. Dad and I didn't really have a good relationship until I was in my late 20s. But now he's 87. He'll be 88 this December, and he's got Alzheimer's and everything. So, and he won't remember anything that I ever tell him. So, but Dad, and plus he was a state trooper for 34 years, Alabama state trooper. So he's hardcore, in a lot of things that I raised my kids a little bit differently than Dad raised me. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both he and Mom.
That's always kind of interested me, is how even if it's not a popular thing to like generalize and classify generations, it is just how effective it actually can be, because you can glean out kind of generational societal norms from different generations. Like,
product of the time, yeah.
It's like, it's just like, you have this one generation, they tend to be more go-getters, this one generation. And it's always, but you have the negative side of that too, where it's like the current generation blames the generation before, then the generation before blames the newest generation, because they don't want to blame their kids, because that would be blaming themselves for not raising their kids right. No, we're going to blame our grandkids. For whatever is bad is going on and whatnot. So I don't know, that has always both made me groan and fascinated me in multiple aspects there.
It's one thing that I love is the boomers and the millennials hate each other and all the time fighting, and me over here, Generation X, just sitting back going, y'all have at it. We're the forgotten generation. We sit in the back and just watch everybody else explode. So
I'm so weird. I'm caught in that middle. Technically, I'm an elder millennial, but I kind of more of the Gen X mindset. I'm the popular, what they call it, Zennial.
Yeah, you're a Zennial. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm kind of right in the middle.
Yeah,
I was born in 80.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're technically you're the youngest Gen X. Or youngest.
Yeah, the youngest Gen X.
Yeah. I think 80 was the cutoff year for Gen X.
I have read so many articles where it's like, it's 79, it's 82, and it's like, I'm just going to call myself a Zennial because I have a lot of the generational characteristics of a millennial. In the way I'm more I'm more dependent upon technology, things like that. I gel more with the millennial mindset than I do, but at the same time, I kind of take like my traits out of both generations.
Yeah. Well, if I can say one thing that Dad, with the it's the browbeating he put into me, and every other beating he put into me, he did give me a good sense of work ethic, and jumping back to what we've been up to the last couple of weeks. Here I am, 45 years old, and this week went back to college. I've gone to graduate school, started on my master's degree this week, so. Between trying to balance work and raising the kids and being a fun, good husband, I'm back into learning again. So At least I appreciate him putting that in me. But yeah, I was a first generation college graduate in my family, and I think mom went to a year of college, I think, down at Troy. So she went there for about a year. Dad never went. Dad went straight from went from high school to farming to raising chickens and working with my grandfather to truck driving to being a state trooper. So yeah, I'm the first one in my family to go to college, and I just decided, why the heck not? Go ahead and go get the master's and
go for gold, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the silver medal already. Go for gold.
Got the silver hair. So,
you know what, Bo? A while ago, Brock was like, "Don't be saying anything about my age." Okay, now he's saying it.
Yeah. Look, I have double standards. Leave me alone.
Just in case you guys didn't realize, we're older gentlemen.
Yeah,
we make sure we remind you every episode.
That's what us old people do.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
And we liked it.
Back in the 90s. Yeah. I was born in the last century, guys.
That's like I've seen like a meme or something talking about how they refer to is that late 19th century music, like music from the 80s and 90s.
My God.
If I have to suffer with that, so do you two guys.
Oh my God.
You saw how I was talking about. Like I realized, like I said, I as I get out in the grass, and I'm telling you, when I cut grass, I'm sure back in the 90s and 80s, like, or especially the 90s, like, especially listen to a lot of rock. I really hope Metallica, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden, all them guys had a guy in his 40s mowing his grass, in their mind, because that's what I said the other day. I realized all the new music of my teenage and 20s is now dad rock, and I'm okay with it, even though it makes me feel old, but still. Time waits on no man.
Yeah, man. I was listening to my dad rock whenever I was mowing the grass today, too. So, yeah.
Well, that's one thing.
I was proud of it.
That's one thing I love about my kids is they love my music from the 80s and all. And the classic rock, which it pains me to hear so many of these radio stations around Birmingham when they play classic rock and they're playing things from the 80s. And I'm like, no, classic rock is from the 60s and 70s. Don't.
Yeah. I think now classic rock is now classified as classical rock, I believe.
Wait, Beethoven?
Yeah.
Van Halen? What?
I'm sure but I'm with you. Like I said, it was that time frame hit me one time when I was listening to the classic rock station and Nirvana came on, and that was like, a lot of time has happened. Yep. Yeah.
No.
And you immediately switch off the radio and you just like sit there in silence. You're like, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's going on.
Just look out the window and go, what have I become? What is life?
Yeah. You could say it's sad but true.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh my. Well, speaking of that younger generation, there's going to be a lot of them all over Atlanta. Well, maybe not as many as years past, but golly, in a couple of weeks, Dragon Con's going to be here. So us old fogies are going to be hanging with the youngins again. That's what it always feels. That's what it feels like to me more and more every time I go to a convention now. It's just, I just.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing about Dragon Con, it's such a big hodgepodge of everybody. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to feel old, like I said, I haven't done it. Like I said, we did with Kamicon. Gosh, that's been 6-7 years ago. Go to anime convention. You want to feel old?
No,
because like the majority of them are like very like youngsters, high school age kids, and I'm like, I'm very not this clientele to be here.
Yeah, Jess and I went to Kamicon here in Birmingham 3 years ago, and that's where we met the two girls who were young Anna and young Elsa. And I remember all the anime kids that time. Going to conventions as long as we have. I mean, heck, I've been going since 93 and 92, 93, but just recently, over the past 10 years or so, anime has become this really big thing at conventions. And yeah, you see them everywhere now. And they're like, even in Atlanta Comic-Con a handful of weeks ago, I didn't see really any costumes that I was familiar with. It was just straight anime, most of them.
Well, and I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but there is a new series coming out called Star Wars Visions that's actually going to be anime. There's going to be Star Wars anime, official Star Wars anime. What? I mean, it looks jaw-droppingly amazing, but it's very clearly that Dragon Ball Z style, just like over the top. Everything's getting into anime now. So like, on your point, Brock, it's like anime's become super popular. It's been around since,
age.
a long time.
Decades.
Yeah, but it's like it's becoming so huge that, I mean, you've got major media properties that they're doing it now. Like Star Wars, I mean, there's not very many you can say it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to be phenomenal. And that just kind of, I mean, they mentioned something about that, I don't know, it was last year, year before, that there was going to be something, and we were like, okay. And then they hit us with that trailer, and it's like, what the heck?
That's made me think, circling back, though. I think another reason why I like the conventions have got so young, you got to remember, like, pop culture has been geek-centric really the last 10, 15 years has really gotten thing. And you got to remember, these are kids now. We've got kids that they've grown up with this as, that's the mainstream entertainment now.
Mm-hmm.
Geek has been the thing. It's like, when we were kids, if you were a geek, you were beat up in school. And now it's like, if you're a geek, obviously you're not a Chad, it's not Alpha or anything, but it's like, it's cool to be a geek. And it's been cool to be a geek for like 10, 15 years now. Yeah. So like you said, Bo, you have kids that have grown up with it being cool to be a geek.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the kids that are now powering these, doing costumes and coming to conventions, because this is where the cool people hang out.
Well, that, and they're younger and they have more, indispensable money, if they.
That too.
I remember.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying. I'm saying I'm glad it's grown, but then part of me is like, I don't know. I try not to keep that gatekeeping mentality. Like I want everybody to be part of it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh man, you just wasn't there at that certain time,
Back in my day.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Heck, when I was in 5th grade in 1987, and got my first computer, I had a Commodore 64, and I'm sitting there, looking through computer magazines and everything, and typing out these codes to make all these different programs and everything else on the Commodore. And if I brought that up at school, I'd be like, what? They'd be like, what? What are you talking about? Why are you doing things like this? Get out and come play football with us. And I'm like, yeah.
You say one more thing about a Commodore, I'm going to pound your face in.
Yeah. Who knows what the crowds are going to be like? I dare say probably a lot of the younger people will be there at Dragon Con this year. Not sure. Dragon Con has come up now with new mandates for safety protocols since we last did the episodes. And, you've got to show proof of being vaccinated, or you've got to show proof of a negative COVID test within 72 hours of picking up your badge. So fantastic. You've got to wear a mask the whole time if you're in indoor areas, and that's awesome. I want everybody to be safe. The vaccinations have become, unfortunately, a hot button topic.
Yeah.
And I can only speak for Jess and myself. I'm not going to say whether or not we're vaccinated, but I will say I think everybody should be tested, since having the vaccine doesn't mean couldn't potentially carry COVID. So the morning that we head to Dragon Con, we're going to get tested. We've already got our appointments and everything set up. So vaccinated or not, we're going to take a test and just make double sure that we're A-okay when we get there.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like, I won't the same way with you. Like, just, everybody feel comfortable, but I think, err on the side of caution, do his best, Like, and there's been so many people that have been at their throats. I'm like, people, come on, this is about people coming together, not trying to go at each other, It's
the way society is today. This country is pathetic these days, that everybody's been so it's not even really, I blame social media completely. I 100% blame social media, and I'm just going to leave it at that, because I'm a person.
Yeah, that's one of the things about social media is that, granted, I'm not going to go too far into this, is that it's given everybody a voice. It used to be that, you would only ever hear the opinions of like politics and things like that in a very measured stream from people in media and things like that. And now social media, everybody has a voice, which is a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been made. Everybody's making team sport stuff, man. Just, you can be different, but still work together.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I've run social media professionally for the last 13 years, and I'm tired of it. I'll be honest.
I understand that.
If I didn't have my job, I would bail 100% off social media just because of what it's turned people into. I mean, just even the Dragon Con Facebook groups right now. I had to mute it where I just didn't see the official Dragon Con group because people are just at each other. And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's like I said, like with myself and with Jess, we're going to get tested. We're not going to say if we're vaccinated or not. It's nobody's business.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has made it their business to put that stuff out on social, and I think that's caused a lot of divide. I think whether you're vaccinated or not, I think you should get a test just to make double sure because everybody can carry this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no matter what. So we're going to do our part, what we think is right, no matter what. We're going to get tested. Hopefully we turn out negative, and we're going to load the car and go pick up our badge, and we're going to go with all of our other negative tested vaccinated friends, unvaccinated friends, and
see our folks' faces, at least nose up, we haven't seen in over 2 years.
And a lot of them we won't because a lot of them aren't coming.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. And I think I mentioned last episode, you know, Dragon Con with dropping the attendance by 50% from 2019, which would put them around 40,000. Good.
Yeah.
The fewer people that show up, the happier I am because it's gotten way too crowded. I'm not going to lie. Dragon Con, even though I love it as much as I do, it
was better when less people loved it as much as you did.
Yeah. And I've been going for quite a number of years, and you know, double digits, and
once again, like I was saying earlier, it's not gatekeeping. It's just like I agree with. It's just the time frame I've been going in the last 10 years or so. It's just it's a lot of people. Like it's a good and a bad thing at the same time.
Yeah, and it's just the Gen X introvert coming out in me these days and getting older. It's like, you know, my tolerance for that amount of people is getting smaller and smaller. So I still want to go to Dragon Con, but I tend to have a lot more fun at the smaller cons, you know, because of the lesser amount of people. But, you know, well, I mean, you know, go negative on all this stuff. But I'm happy to go to Dragon Con and we're going to see some people and everything that we have not seen. But, you know, it'd be nice if Dragon Con limits the amount of people from here on out. But
well, that might be a fun experiment with this, seeing how this things will affect it. You know, of course, it is a convention at the end of the day, so, you know, they're also a business, so see how that financially affects them.
Yeah. And of course, they benefit greatly from having 80, 90,000 people there or more, but
I'm sure the city of Atlanta enjoys all the tax money incentives it brings in. So, you know.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But, you know, Jess said today that she saw where, you know, a lot of people are actually now this close starting to give up their Marriott rooms.
Yep.
You know, to have people give up a Marriott room is, you know, that's
huge.
At least
that's unheard of.
Yeah. At least in our several groups of our friends, you know, it's Marriott or nothing. Marriott's the Dragon Con experience, which is to me bunk because of the elevator situation.
Yeah.
I've been up and down in the Marriott elevators during Dragon Con. I do not want to stay at the Marriott.
I have not gone to a Dragon Con where I actually stayed there. And I mean, God, what did we figure, Brock? It's been 15 years.
Probably.
It's been a long while.
Yeah.
And I remember how crappy the elevators were.
I'm sure it's going to be more fun this year with them probably limiting so many people that could be in the elevator. Nobody cramming like normal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, she said she saw several Marriott rooms go up for the taking today, and I was like, boy, if I had the money. Yeah. But you know, we're staying in our host hotel, the one that we always stay in, and we always stay in the Sheraton.
Good hotel.
I like that it's a little bit out of the way, and it's a lot quieter, and it's still a host hotel. It's just right down the street. But we've got our parking pass all situated. We've got the hotel the guys are staying with. So I'm looking forward to it this year, just for, like I said, half the people, or maybe more than half, because of people just really just dropping out now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's understandable. You know,
yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty.
You know, but we've been fortunate so far. None of us have caught it. And if we did, it was...
If we did, you didn't know it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never tested positive, so we've had several tests. But, you know, it'll be fun. It's Dragon Con. Dragon Con's always fun. We'll not be carrying any new costumes this year. We're going to carry our Ghostbusters flight suits to be in the parade with. But outside of that, I think Jess and I will be in T-shirt and shorts the rest of the weekend. We're not dressing up at all for this. Do yourself a favor, and if you've never seen the Marriott on a Saturday night, go Google pictures of it. And that is exactly why we're going casual and staying out of the crowded areas this year.
Yeah, those elaborate costumes are impressive, but also I'm like, man, how do you move around in that? Let alone
you can't in the Marriott. I mean, I had my Mass Effect, my N7 armor, and I sold it to a friend of ours because it was just a pain at Dragon Con. I was like, I don't want to wear this anymore.
It's understandable.
Yeah. I mean, I'll make a new one day. There's some things happening in our personal life to where I'm about to get a workshop finally that I've been waiting for 3 years to reclaim. And I'm hoping by the end of the year that's going to be in place. So I'll be able to work on stuff again. I've got 2 3D printers, one a resin printer, one a filament printer that are still sitting in the box and have been for a year because I don't have any place to put it. So it'd be nice to have the workshop where I can get creative again and build stuff and utilize those printers. I'm really looking forward to learning those. As you saw on our social media a couple of weeks ago, or within the last couple of weeks, Kevin's been printing out a shredder helmet, which looks incredible, and he's got some things that he's been doing. So I'm ready to get my feet into that water. So, yeah, I don't have anything new for Dragon Con this year. Like I said, we're going to go casual. We're just going to go enjoy, and hopefully, if Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper don't pull out, that's going to be the one photo op we do. I think I've already seen where a couple of actors have pulled out of Dragon Con, but if Eccleston and Piper are still there, that's going to be our one photo op that we'll go do. And then my daughter wants an autograph from Bonnie Wright, Ginny Weasley, so we'll go get that for her. And go talk to Sonequa Martin Green, who is Michael Burnham on Star Trek Discovery. She was also on The Walking Dead. She is an Alabama graduate. She's from Alabama, so I definitely want to go talk to her and give her a big roll tide.
The weird thing with this, and I say weird, it's I think it was a pretty good observation, was the first time I'd ever saw her in anything. I just looked at her and I was like, I've got this feeling she's got something to do with Alabama. And then I looked her up and I'm like, okay, well, there we go.
Yep.
Spider sense for someone who's from Alabama or has something to do with Alabama. I could tell. So I was like, yeah, I'm proud of myself. I can recognize my own kind.
It'd be good if they ever get Michael Rooker back, since he's from Jasper.
Yeah.
Bo and I met him while he was filming Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Oh, man.
He had didn't have the Yondu mohawk, but he had his head shaved with just a little strip down the middle for makeup purposes. But I remember we went up to him and went Roll Tide, and of course his lovely raspy voice, "Hey, Roll Tide!"
Yes,
you boys from home. Yes, we are, Mr. Rooker.
Of course, we can't without talking about that Dragon Con. About that time he borrowed the Houston Ghostbusters flight suit and ran around the convention and went up to Ernie Hudson and said, "I'm here for work, boss."
Oh yeah,
I believe that's what he told him.
There's a video of that somewhere.
Yeah, I'd say you do yourself a favor. Look it up.
That's awesome.
Always some colorful personalities from Alabama. Speaking of Michael Rooker, Bo and Kevin had seen Suicide Squad the last time, and Jess and I went the very next night on that Monday night and saw it in IMAX, and got to see him in it and enjoyed seeing him along with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, no spoilers.
No.
Okay.
No. But I was very happy. And Bo, you were right. That theme song at the beginning, I started singing along.
Oh, man. Music choice is good.
Yeah. I started singing along out loud. I mean, there was nobody in there. It was a Monday night in an IMAX. There was nobody.
I mean, if it a James Gunn movie, if it didn't have good music, I would have been like, what producer shackled him down? Because it's James Gunn. It's got to have good music.
Mm-hmm.
Well, made me think, this is nothing really too spoilerish about the movie, but I got to have a question. There's one shot in the movie that I think is like just one of the most incredible movie shots I've ever seen. It's the one of the fights at the end where you see the reflection in the Peacemakers helmet, that fight.
Mm-hmm.
That scene, it looked incredible on the TV. I can imagine how that was in IMAX.
It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I mean, you could see every detail in that helmet.
Like, it was incredible.
Somebody asked James Gunn on Twitter this week about that shot, and was it done practically or did it have CG? And he's like, yeah. Well, he said because of the shiny nature of the helmet, we had to do 2 passes on it. One filming the fight scene and then one filming the helmet itself, and they had to splice the two together CG wise, just because of how reflective it was. But still, it turned out beautiful. It's a great shot.
Well, I mean, think of movies. Also, I did correct the issue. I did finally see Black Widow, by the way.
Hey,
really?
Yeah, and then actually, I really enjoyed it.
It's good.
I mean, I liked it. It's really good. I like what they did with it. I still wish it would have came out probably a few years sooner than it did. But yeah, I really like it. I figured I'd like it, but I liked it much more than I planned on enjoying it.
What did you think about the opening song?
Oh my gosh, that is with the context of what's going on in the movie and how that's done. That is hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah, that is a gorgeous version of "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
I kind of forgot about it, and then it started playing. It's like, oh, this is what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. It's really good. I'm gonna have to find that and add that to my Amazon playlist.
Yeah. And we know Black Widow's dead in the MCU. I mean, she gone.
What?
3 years, spoilers, But,
God, man.
it's a shame that Scarlett and Disney, I guess, got into a little bit of a spat. And so,
hey, shame on her for trying to enforce her contract.
Yeah,
exactly.
Shame on her.
Exactly. So, I hate that she won't probably be part of any future projects anytime soon for Disney. I mean, I think she was scheduled to be in that Tower of Terror movie that they were going to come out with, and then they kicked her out of that after she sued them. It's like, man. But, Black Widow was a wonderful character, and so thrilled that she got her own movie. But yeah, you're right, Bo. It really did come too late.
I have to say, the freaking David Harbour, man, I love that guy. His Red Guardian was so good.
If you really want to see him just be himself in something funny, we're avid watchers of Hot Ones on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
They, it's the Hot Wings show, the interview show with Sean Evans, where they sit down and they start off mild and go to just burn your rear end hot. Hot sauce on these chicken wings. And this past season, while doing the publicity for Black Widow, David Harbour sat down and did that, and he was funny. He was funny to watch. His reactions were pretty good, especially when he got to the sauce called Da Bomb, which that's the number 8 sauce. That's the number 8 sauce on the lineup, and that's the one that will get you every time. That's the one I refuse to try, because I see the reactions. We've got, Jess and I actually have a monthly subscription to Heatonist, the hot sauces from Hot Ones, First We Feast. So we got several bottles of the Last Dab and Classic and all the stuff. If you know the show, you know the sauces we're talking about. They have never sent Da Bomb, and I never want Da Bomb. But the best, the meme that everybody knows of Shaquille O'Neal is where he tried Da Bomb. He's like, where was this one made, Sean? He said, this was made in Kansas. Kansas don't know nothing about no hot sauce.
Oh,
and then he bit into it and immediately went, "Ooh, I'm sorry, Kansas."
See, I need to watch more of them. I've watched the 3 episodes of the Shaquille O'Neal, the Paul Rudd, and then the Idris Elba. His reaction to where he about just basically coughs his head off there for about 30 minutes owned me.
Take some time and go and watch some of these. Weird Al Yankovic did a really good one. That was the only one I could let the kids watch because he didn't cuss. Everybody else, I can't let the kids see the one with Gordon Ramsay, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
But Stone Cold Steve Austin was a really good one. He just he manned up and took it down. I mean, that's Stone Cold. What do you expect? But the Undertaker as well. Undertaker was a fantastic one.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that one and the Stone Cold one. The Stone Cold one was phenomenal. I agree.
They're fun to watch. They get a lot of people on there I've never heard of, but they're still entertaining. And there's some I take a pass on just because I don't like the celebrity, and I can't name one off the top of my head recently. But if it's on there, I'll watch it. So, yeah. What are you looking forward to out of Dragon Con this year, Bo? We'll jump back to that off our tangent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, my main thing is just to see. Like I said, Dragon Con is more than just a convention for me now. It's become like, see people that I interact with online, but see them in person, once a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. I guess wise, I'm only, as of right now, only two I'm really looking forward to is Fred Tascaroni, who does like voice acting in Gears of War and one of the characters in Call of Duty Zombies, which I'm a big nerd about. So that's, I'm looking forward to him. And then, of course, with my being a fan of wrestling, I'm hoping DDP will still be attending. Hopefully he won't be one of the guys that changed their mind. Of course, he lives in Atlanta, so I think, it's like, he's got to rearrange his schedule to get there or not get there.
Yeah, DDP will be a good one to meet. He always seems so positive. He's helped so many people with his yoga program. And
yeah, see, one of our friends brought up that was one panel or thing that Dragon Con should have done. They should have had a DDP yoga session. I'm telling you.
Well, you've got Erin Gray who does the Tai Chi stuff every year.
Oh, that's true.
So I don't know if they wanted to step on that. She's been doing Tai Chi at Dragon Con ever since I've been going. That's 14 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
We got to meet her at ImagiCon. She's such a sweet lady. I had the biggest crush on her when she was on Silver Spoons. And, of course, Buck Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
But
and probably the other thing I'm looking forward to the PKA Surge Luau, which I really have nothing special for. I'm just going to probably get a Hawaiian shirt and probably wear socks with sandals. So
Jess has been looking for. She has found some Ghostbusters Hawaiian shirts. Yeah. But I don't know if we can get them in time now because they're from these companies and that are not, like Amazon, ship them in 2 days or whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably drop ship from China or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I order plenty of stuff like that too. And, you just got to order it and wait and hope that it gets here in one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we can find one of these Spirit of Halloween stores open, they got grass skirts there. Like they did last year. So we'll see.
So you guys were mentioning a lot of like wrestlers and stuff here. What I heard of this thing, and I'm not much of a wrestling fan, guys. I know we've already established this, but Brock was telling us in our pre-show that this WWE event called SummerSlam just happened, right?
Yeah, it happened as of recording this. It happened yesterday. Which is weird for it to be on a Saturday. Usually the big WWE pay-per-views are on Sunday, but they switched it up with one from NXT tonight.
I think with that, and also the venue they had was a big boxing match or something happening at that same venue.
Oh, so yeah, they were in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's another reason why I think it got switched up, which to me, I think Saturday night's a better night for them anyway, because, if it goes long, you can stay up. You ain't got to worry about if you got work Monday morning, you're good.
Well, the SummerSlam went long. And
I'm sure.
It went needlessly long. I was texting Bo last night. I'm like, are you watching this mess? Because it was a mess. And he's like, no, I'm following the results on Twitter. And they had some good matches. Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg. Everybody was predicting for that to go like a minute or whatever because Goldberg matches normally don't go that long, apparently. Nope. But it turned out to be good. And I'll just say Bobby Lashley is a beast. He's impressive. Physique-wise, he looks like Wayne Brady on steroids.
He's a ridiculous buff dude, man.
But I enjoyed watching him, and I enjoyed watching Goldberg. I liked Goldberg back in the day. I've not followed wrestling as especially as much as Bo has. I've just now recently gotten back into it.
Yeah,
and boy, just watching SummerSlam just really made me miss the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras. WWE just doesn't have a superstar in my brain that can hold a candle to, when you had Stone Cold and The Rock and, all those guys, when they would come out and get those electric pops, the big crowd reactions. However, they did have one reaction, I had a couple last night. Becky Lynch, the man, who I think is just gorgeous because, Irish redhead. With me, it's always redheads.
And if anyone's wondering for wrestling, the reason why they call her the man is because she got that really kind of kinged on because she had a big rivalry with Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte Flair, and her father, Ric Flair, was always to be the man you got to beat the man. So therefore, that's how she kind of took on that mantle of the man. Even like she's one of the ladies wrestlers, but she's the man. She's the alpha. That's one of the cool thing about it.
Okay. Well, she came back and it was thunderous. I mean, she got a pop that I've not heard in WWE in ages. It was massive. And everybody was on fire for her. And then the match happened. She challenged
Bianca Belair.
Bianca Belair. I remember Jess and I did watch WrestleMania this year, and Bianca had a heck of a match to win the women's title.
She is like I said, I've watched Red Bay. Like she won it back in WrestleMania, which is good. The guy she's had because she did it. I think she won. I can't remember if she won the Rumble this year. Yeah, she won the Rumble this year. But the year before, she had a great Rumble. Like they've been building her for a good few years now. Like she was in their developmental product called NXT, and that's what I used to watch more than the main roster. And she's an incredible athlete. Like she's really good. And like the one thing about her, like one of her big signature things, she has this long ponytail. It's like tightly braided, and like she'll smack people with it, and it sounds like it is just like cutting them in half.
Who is the character in Mortal Kombat that's got that big ponytail?
I don't remember a big ponytail. You had Sindel. She would do the big hair whip.
Yeah,
thing.
the hair. Yeah, Sindel. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she reminds me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, her hair is incredibly long, and I was very surprised to see, at least in the handful of matches that I've seen her in, nobody's really taken advantage of that.
Yeah.
Put her in an airplane spin with her hair. But
well, I mean, we know that wrestling is scripted, so
what?
It's
still real to me.
Happen soon.
There you go.
It's real, man. It is a man soap opera, So it's the way it is. But you say it. It's like it hasn't happened yet. Oh, it probably will. I mean, if that's a feature that people look at, so, a villain or something will find a way to.
I don't know because this is we're going to cover a hard criticism with WWE. Like I said, they spent a year or two building Bianca Belair up until only to have Becky Lynch, which I understand she is one of their most popular superstars. And I mean, I'm glad she's back, but have her come back and then just basically 26 seconds roll up and defeat one of the people you've built up over the years. So,
I don't even think it was 20 seconds.
Really?
I mean, it was a short. I mean, she came in there and 1-2.
Yeah, but that's what they call a squash match. They basically come in,
she completely
destroy,
squashed her.
win. Yeah.
And for that massive pop that she got at the beginning when she came in, that place was electric. And when she squashed Bianca in about 20 seconds, the place, and she won the championship, the place went dead. It was silent. The only thing you heard was the music. And, the commentators, oh my goodness, the man is back. And you look at the crowd, everybody's like, really?
Yeah.
That was the worst part of SummerSlam, I think. It was the best and the worst because they finally had somebody who ran in and got that incredible amount of applause and screaming and everything. And then just complete 180 once that match was over in 20 seconds. It's like, you could have built that up. You really could have. You could have made a better storyline out of it because now what's going to become of Bianca after this great push that she's had?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a stumble in a way. Like she stumbled back a little bit. And then,
stuff like that is why I've quit watching. Like I said, I've kind of given up on them when they released my favorite character over the last 10 years of Bray Wyatt. I mean, that guy was really cool. Just something out of the ordinary. And then, of course, they say budget cuts and other creative differences. It's weird to me. Like anybody who gets themselves over, they usually cut them or something. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's one of the reasons why I said I've kind of drifted away from them. And of course, there's a better product, in my opinion. Now, whether that's there's a better product out there right now.
And Jim Cornette would disagree with you.
Jim Cornette's going to disagree with everybody, no matter what.
Much. I was listening while I was working on my Eagle Moss Enterprise D. I was listening to his podcast from yesterday, and he hates AEW. He hates them so bad.
I think the guy his older years he's got very out there, but I tell you the guy respects like no matter how you feel about the guy, some people don't agree with some of the things he's done or said or whatever. The dude respects it for what it is. Like he respects the art and craft of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And like he's a wrestling savant of golden era 80 plus behind. So the man's knowledgeable of the product, but I don't know. Like he's also, it's like we talk about the generational thing. He's a product of his time.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Jim, and speaking of AEW, and speaking of massive pops, Friday night, and I don't have TNT because we've gone streaming, and my streaming platform doesn't have TNT, which I've got to find a way to get this. But thankfully, AEW puts their stuff on YouTube quite a bit, and so they put the return of CM Punk on there, so I got to watch it yesterday. Holy smokes!
Well, he was in his hometown of Chicago too. You've got to remember too. That's the United Center. He's a big Chicago born and bred guy. So
it was a perfect storm for him to come back. But even Jim Cornette, he talked quite a bit about CM Punk and coming back. And the first thing out of his mouth, and this is how you know AEW did something right, is Cornette goes, CM Punk came back, and they brought him in, but they didn't do it the way I would have done it.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because they did it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was his words, is like, I'm glad they didn't do it the way I would have done it because they nailed it. The commentators didn't say a word. It was just the big Cult of Personality music hit. CM Punk comes out, and you couldn't hear the music anymore except when the crowd was singing it.
Oh man,
it was mind-blowingly deaf, and you could tell that over the television.
It was really cool because the guy, like I said, I know you're not a wrestling guy, Kevin. CM Punk, he's been like, he was what they call a darling of the independent era. He was in what's called Ring of Honor. He gained a great following, and that's his thing. He's a straight edge guy, so he says he doesn't drink, doesn't do all that stuff. He lives by that, but his character and I guess it's just his personality in general. Like I said, that's his theme. His theme song is "Cult of Personality" by Living Colour. That is his theme music. So he has that personality. Like I could see him commanding a group of people, and they would follow him to the ends of the world because that's how how devout his fan base is to him. But I mean, he's also, once again, a great athlete. Athlete. I cannot talk tonight. Sorry. Like Brock said, I compared this probably the pop he got because the guy's he got frustrated with WWE and he set out his contract, and then there for a while he didn't wrestle, so he has been inactive for 7 years in wrestling. He tried UFC, that didn't do so well for him, which I mean, everybody's going to try a job that didn't work out for him. But I mean, he just, the way he is, he was meant for pro wrestling, and I'm glad to see him back. And you were talking about like Attitude Era pop. Probably the pop he got was, to me, is probably comparable. You remember when Austin came in and kind of or he was supposed to be banned from the arena that night, and I want to say helped Mick Foley win his first world championship. I compare that pop to that. That's what Punk got. If you're a wrestling fan, like it was just erupted. And like you said, they didn't let the commentators think. They let the crowd and CM Punk did the talking.
Yeah, he went and sat in the middle of the ring, crossed his legs, and just sat down and just commanded attention. That was one of the best things I've seen in wrestling in quite a while. And like I said, I don't watch often. I don't watch Raw. I don't watch SmackDown. I've just got other things to do on those nights. And I watch the pay-per-views, because they're on Peacock, and I can, without having to dish out that obscene amount of money for them. But
right.
So, it was a sight to behold. And I once the ruthless aggression era ended with WWE is when I kind of backed out of it. So a lot of these talents and everything these days, I'm not overly familiar with. I have to constantly message Bo during these things, like, who's this? What are they doing? Yeah. Why are these belts all different? So
get off my lawn.
Exactly. So that was a lot of fun to see. It really was.
Well, that's the great thing about AEW. It was kind of born off of people, like a lot of people involved are people who remember the eras that we love, like the 80s and 90s, and there's a lot of people involved with their product. And I think the thing about it is like a lot of people, them guys were either they were part of the industry or they were fans of the industry, and they're kind of doing that, which I think this is WWE's kind of a victim of its own success. Years ago it went publicly traded on the stock market. Now they have boardroom meetings and, how do we do this? I think like they've become which is funny. Their big heel faction was the corporation. Well, I believe that's the biggest thing that's happened to them now. It's all about we've got to sell tickets, we got to sell toys, we got to. I mean, that was how it was originally, but I think now it's more streamlined. Like, we have board meetings, we do audience testing, and, rather than it just being, they're trying to do audience testing for, kids and, something they can sell to a casual fan, where AEW is kind of more worried about, like, let's make something wrestling fans like. Mm-hmm. That's my take on it. Like, I've watched it since day one. Like, I was so excited for AEW, and like, even at the most times, when I've got burned out, I'll at least watch 10 or 15 minutes. When I don't have time, I'll try to watch it and still at least keep up on it. I'm actually invested in it, wanted to keep up with it and watch it when I can.
That was really neat at Magic City Con a couple of years ago after AEW debuted. And,
oh, yes.
And Cody and Dustin Rhodes had that brother against brother match. That was one of the best matches I think I've ever seen in my life. And Dustin was at Magic City Con, and we got to go in there and talk to him. And like, dude, that match, thank you for coming to AEW and kicking it off like that. He's like, well, man, that means a lot that you guys enjoyed it. And I'm like, dude, that was one of the best. I'm like, you still got it, man.
That's why I told him. I said, man, why are you and your brother making this dude in his late 30s almost cry at a wrestling match, man? Because their father is the legendary Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Ron Daniels.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the crazy thing about like we'll go back, maybe think almost crying. Like, I know some people have kind of like poked fun. There's a great image even Brock you shared to me. The guy kind of weeping at CM Punk's return. That's the one thing I say about wrestling. It's some people may mess with it or fans of it, but at the end of the day, man, it's something important to somebody, and like it's like any other TV show or movie. It's just, like I said, athletic theater. You have the storylines, you have these characters that you get emotionally invested with. And like I said, that was hometown Chicago. I'm sure that guy is probably a Chicagoan and, Punk fan. And
yeah,
I don't know if you've noticed, but I've seen guys like wrestlers on Twitter have reached out to that guy being like, who is this guy? Cause that's why they do it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they love the sport, but like, as much as they love the sport, they want to see the fan love the sport just as much as them.
Yeah. Well, and jumping back to SummerSlam, Edge and Seth Rollins, that was a really good match. I thoroughly enjoyed that match. And what was really neat in talking about our nostalgia factors for this is all of a sudden when Edge's entrance hit, the music came on, but it wasn't the "You Think You Know Me." It was the Brood. When it was Gangrel and Christian. I think
he's used that theme since like 2000 or 99-ish.
It's been a while. And that hit, and he came up out of the floor, and the place was red, and you hear the Brood music. And Jess and I were sitting on the couch, and we're like, how many people in this arena actually remember the Brood? There's probably so many kids in that crowd Googling, what is this? It's like, oh no, that was when it was in its heyday. Yeah. But he came out, and then halfway after the Brood music ended, then it kicked into his, his regular, You Think You Know Me, his Rated R Superstar music. But man, that was, I'm so happy to see Edge still going like he is. He and Seth really did a good match.
Yeah, Seth Rollins is one of the newer guys. Some people don't like him, but I mean, I respect his once again his ability. Like I said, the crazy thing about Edge was sidelined for like, gosh, how long did it be?
Years.
He was retired. Like they wouldn't clear him for concussion protocol and neck protocol, but then they finally cleared him, and he's kind of having. I don't know if he'll win another world championship, but I'm still enjoying his return run.
Yeah, I was so hoping Gangrel would have shown up. When that music hit, I'm like, oh, but yeah,
he has popped up in AEW once.
Oh, did he?
Yes, Matt Hardy. They had this battle. Like I said, this wacky thing. The Hardys have had this wacky thing where he's very an eccentric character, and they had this battle at his home. And Gangrel randomly popped up in the match. So he's still out there.
That's funny. The big main event last night was John Cena and Roman Reigns, and I don't know that much about Roman Reigns. I'll be honest. I know a lot of people don't like him.
He's turned heel. His character is much better now.
I thoroughly enjoyed that match. of course, being all three of us being old school gamers, when John Cena came out and all of his ring gear was, it looked like Super Mario 3.
Yeah,
it was great. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah, he knew how to get all of us old fogies hooked in, but they had a good match. They had a fun match. I totally didn't expect Cena to win because, I mean, he's Hollywood now. Yeah. But, at the end of that match, and I know apparently it was a big deal. A lot of people popped for it when Brock Lesnar came out. And I know he and Roman have had a long-standing feud. I don't know when Brock was last seen in WWE. I haven't paid that close attention.
WrestleMania last year, I believe.
2020?
That could be wrong.
No, I didn't know how long he had been out. But when he came out, and we had a thread going in one of our Facebook groups, and yes, have some podcast group therapy. There was a thread going on, people doing a watch along, and everybody's like, "Oh my goodness, it's Brock Lesnar!" And the way he looks now, I just typed in, "Oh my goodness, it's Techno Viking."
Well, I've seen him. He looks like somebody's called him IPA Brock Lesnar too. Also,
so I know Vince had to throw a few million to him to get him to come back because that's what Brock's all about. Easy money, come on back for a spot or two.
Yeah,
but it was fun to see him.
Hey, speaking of wrestling, I don't know if this has entered either one of your radar, but you remember when Stephen Amell was doing things in wrestling? I didn't really realize it because I always thought it was just kind of like a stunt with the Arrow, the show that he was on.
He's a huge fan.
I mean, he's a huge fan, but he actually has a show now called Heels that's on Stars. Yep. I watched the first episode of that the other day, and it is phenomenal. Oh. Like it looks like it's going to be very, very good. And when you guys were talking a while ago about that one match that apparently happened on this that was like really quick, you kind of get something like that in the first episode of this show. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's basically about two brothers that are trying to continue a smaller wrestling league that was started by their father and supported by their father. Their father has passed, and the older brother, which is Stephen Amell's character, he's like trying to make it work, and the younger brother's just trying to be a good wrestler. And he has a lot of temptations from other wrestling ventures and things like that come up in there. And the actual star power in this is pretty good. I was actually kind of blown away, and I had no idea this was coming up, and I saw it come out. So I popped on the Stars, watched it. I recommend it. If you're a wrestling fan, you're probably going to like this because it's not just like, as Brock was saying earlier, how WWE's gone real corporate. This is kind of like back to the basics.
Well, the Indies is what a lot of people made me think. Also, the guy we're talking about, CM Punk, he's supposed to be in that series. His real name is Phil Brooks, but that's his CM Punk. He's in it. I'll have to see if he's in the first episode, and I'll look him up and send an image to you later on.
I'll definitely try to check out that show. I loved Arrow when Steven was on there, and he came to Dragon Con. Oh goodness, I forget what year it was, but I got a chance to meet him, and it was right when he was doing when he was portraying Casey Jones in the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. But I got to meet him and do a photo op with him, and I'm like, Stephen Amell's a big boy, and he is a rock solid muscle. But I had to look up to him. I'm like, oh, hi. Wow, you are a big man.
And the weird thing is when you look at Stephen Amell, I don't know what it is about him in like the Arrow and other shows. He just doesn't look like he's that big.
And he is. That's what's scary.
And and then as soon as you go and you look at his physical stats, it's like that guy, he's a chonker. He's a big guy. He's a very well-built guy. And then when I actually saw some of the clips, granted, again, I don't watch wrestling that much, but I did make sure I watched the clips because I'm a fan of his, of when he did, wrestling. He was holding his own with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, So it kind of, what got me thinking about it was, I'm sure he was doing that because he's a huge fan, but he was also doing research for this show, most likely. Because I'm sure this show has been in development for a while. I just had not heard of it. It's just not on my radar. But I will 100% be following this show.
Nice.
and just hearing Stephen Amell speak in a Southern accent, it's kind of awesome.
Speaking of, did you ever see the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, Kev?
Yes.
Oh my
gosh! I actually watched that about a couple of weeks ago again. Because that's just showing the realities of being a wrestler and being an old salt in the industry.
Yeah.
That was just phenomenal. And he won something for that, didn't he?
I think he was either nominated or got an Academy Award for that.
I mean, it was whatever he got was well deserved, because that movie was phenomenal. I mean, it was just like out of left field too. It was like I remember when it first came out, and I was like, "Whoa!"
He got nominated for Best Actor. For that,
and very, very deservingly so. That's a good movie. So, but yeah, so I got nothing else on wrestling theater.
Well, let's switch over to Halloween. What about Halloween?
Sure.
This is
about dressing up and being someone different.
Boy, look! You see how excited Kevin got?
Oh man! From three fellows who live Halloween all year long, actually getting to the season where all the normies can enjoy Halloween with us is always the best time of the year for me. So where people don't feel weird getting in costume. All the normal folks that are like, oh, well, I don't know why you get in costume. It's like, you just don't understand, man. And then you get to this time of the year, the fall, where not only is fall my favorite season of the year, but Halloween is like the centerpiece in fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's we get to do, you get to decorate your house, like do all your decorations and whatever you want to do, and have the kids come over to your house and give out candy. And unlike me last year, who didn't have enough candy, make sure I have enough this year. Apparently, this past year was the first year that I lived in my current home, and didn't really know the neighborhood very well. And I learned that kids were being trucked in, and they went around the neighborhood on the back of trailers, and were just getting off at houses and en masse. And I was like, oh, I'm in one of those neighborhoods. This is good.
Nice. Well, what are you guys planning on doing this Halloween? I was not dressing up or anything, but as far as decorations.
Well, like for me, usually that's kind of ties in earlier. We were talking about Dragon Con. That's usually what I do, because I'm usually off the day after Dragon Con anyway. So usually I'll come home after I get settled in after Labor Day, and shoot, we start digging, my family, we start digging our Halloween stuff out around then to get it out. We've got a few inflatables, and the wife and I have talked about it, but lumber's been very expensive, but we're intentionally going to try to make some, the plywood standouts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it for years. Like, I eventually at one point, I do want to do for my yard. You've seen my yard, Brock, kind of that little sloped area. I want to do the Welcome to Silent Hill or Raccoon City, like Welcome to sign. I want to do that for my yard one year. I mean, we do the inflatables. We've got some Nightmare for Christmas and got a few GB inflatables. Usually we're the inflatables. I like the inflatables, but that goes back to also we're talking about grass. The only thing about putting my decorations out in early September is I still have to cut grass in September.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other fun things about it. So you got to make sure you got to move them every time I cut grass and put them back. But that's usually with that. We do a few decorations inside.
We really have never done Halloween decorations. I will go buy decorations. I'll go buy inflatables and stuff like that. Like this year, we saw, what was it? Home Depot started advertising their inflatables about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And apparently this year they've got this massive $200 Ursula inflatable. And of course, Jess was like, okay, you're going to get this, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, I'm absolutely going to get it. I've got an 8-foot tall Stay Puft inflatable, and as well as a 13-foot tall Stay Puft inflatable. And those are currently the only two that I have. And I'm definitely going to get this Ursula one, no matter what. I mean, it's Ursula.
Yeah, I saw that in the notes. I'm actually now looking at it. Wow, that is impressive. That is
yes,
really cool looking.
It's nice. So, is it the one where she's holding the pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern?
That's really cool. Like, I like the way that's going to look awesome in the yard.
It won't go in the yard.
Oh, that's true.
I don't want anybody to steal
what you talk about? I'm sleeping with it, man.
well, it's big. It's big. It won't fit in the bedroom. We don't.
The wife's already said no, so
I said no. Oh, but one thing I did pick up, we've got a traffic light near our house. We're located not terribly far from a Lowe's, and this traffic light goes out all the time. So there was a massive line. In order to get to our house, you have to go left at the light. If you go right, you go to Lowe's. And the light was blinking red and yellow. And just as a sidebar, if you're driving and come upon an intersection where the lights are blinking like that, the regular traffic lights, learn what they mean. Learn traffic patterns. Learn how to drive. If it's red, it means stop. If you've got a yellow light flashing, that means go through. Be cautious, but go through. Don't stop, because then it turns into this massive four-way stop, which is not supposed to be unless there's red lights blinking on every side of the light. Anyway, I'm going off on a traffic pet peeve of mine. Oh my gosh. Learn the traffic signals and what they mean if they're flashing, okay? So anyway, everybody being Bubba Dum Dum has stopped at all these yellow lights and naturally the red lights. So there's traffic backed up four ways. I'm like, man, forget this. It would probably taken me 10 minutes to go left to go to my house. So I take a right. I just go to Lowe's. I'm like, I'm going to go the back way. That's normally what I do. If it's ever backed up there, I take a right. I go to Lowe's and then make my way down the other side on my street and can get there without any problem usually. So I go to Lowe's. I'm like, I want to kill some time at Lowe's. I go in there, see what kind of Halloween decorations they put out, and they've got a Haunted Mansion light. One of those where you sit down on the center of the table, you turn it on, and it turns, and the lights light up on all the they turn and they show up on your ceilings and your walls and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like Haunted Mansion wallpaper. It's got the hitchhiking ghosts and stuff, and so it's rotating around your room. So yeah, you better believe I got one of those, and a couple of candelabras that look like the gargoyles from Haunted Mansion, but they're not Haunted Mansion, but they're close enough. But they're cool. So that's what I've gotten this year, and I've got to pick up Ursula at some point.
Yeah, it's like with our talking about with our inflatables. Like Ghostbusters, my thing. Nightmare for Christmas is my wife's thing. So like all our inflatables, like we have a big Oogie Boogie and Jack and Sally and Zero. So that's usually our decor outside. By the way, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go back, but I was thinking about that. I was like,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw you bought your first piece of fall decoration, Kev.
Yeah. I did, yeah. Well, there's fall and then there's Halloween, and that's two very distinct and separate things for me. So I'll do fall decorations, but being that I haven't been at my house, but just a little over a year now, I kind of made a splash last year immediately because I made it known that I'm the guy to come and get candy from. Because starting in September, actually no, toward the end of September, I actually one of my big things with Halloween, at least in this house, is projectors. I have projectors not like the projectors you get at Party City, but like actual media projectors that you can put images on. And one of the things I did was I have a set of windows in my the front of my house that are they're like 3 panes of windows that are right next to each other, and they kind of form one large window. And I put a sheet over that in the evenings and would pull open the blinds fully, put a sheet over it, and I would project from the inside dancing skeletons and other scenes like that. So even way before Halloween, people driving by going, this guy likes Halloween. And and last year, I didn't really have time to set a lot of stuff up because I had only been in the house for,
it wasn't long, a month?
Well, I was a little longer than that. It was like 3 months. So this year, I've had plenty of time to prepare, and I have a 3D printer. So this year, I, in addition to setting up the same display, I'll be setting up a secondary projected display for the 2 windows in my garage that are on the front side. And I plan on doing portraits in those, like 2 separate portraits that will actually move and do things. So sneak preview there. And much to the delight of my fellow Ghostbusters here, I am planning on doing Ghostbuster skeletons in the front yard. I want to do like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do 4. I may just do 3, but I'm going to do some miniature skeletons and print them some small proton packs and then have them actually pointing their proton packs or their wands at the roof. And I'm going to actually run. This is all if I can get this to work, guys, but I'm going to run a wire up to the roof and actually have them fighting a ghost of some sort up on the roof. Something that's also going to be in skeleton form or something. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've got the stuff on order. And it's just a matter of, getting it and starting to get it set up. I'm not going to start until probably like Bo said, probably right after Dragon Con was when you'll start seeing me doing things. But I tend to, even though I'm kind of crazy about it, I tend to wait until the official start of fall before I start inundating my poor neighbors with like, hey guys, guess what? Kevin's the guy that loves fall. Check it out. It's fall stuff everywhere.
Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I also do inflatables as well. Like last year I did I had a Grogu, Star Wars Grogu that was holding a pumpkin. I think a lot of people had that one. I did that one. I don't know if I'll do that one again this year because where I had him last year, this year I'm going to have the Ghostbusters. So I'm slowly going to be doing more unique and eye-catching things. Because I'm not dogging inflatables, but in reality, anybody can do them. They're easy to do. They're easy to store. You put them up, and then you bring them out, and then you plug them in, and then they just inflate, and they're cool. I love them, but I want to be known as that guy that in the neighborhood that does all the really cool, unique things, like putting projectors in his windows and doing Ghostbusters and things like that.
Yeah. That's my goal eventually. I've been trying to price it over the last few years. I want to do some of that. Like, I know people do it mostly for Christmas, but I kind of want to get some of them lights where you can do the music to lights for your house. I would just put them out for Halloween and just leave them out to the rest of the year. Get some of the LED strips where they could be any color. So that's my goal one day.
You just go from Halloween. You switch it from Halloween to Christmas mode.
Yeah,
and then just
change the music, switch up the program, and then that's it.
That's fantastic. And that when we get to our final forever home, that we're eventually our plans are to build our final house. That's when I'll probably start really doing decorating and stuff. Until now, it's I don't know. I work about an hour away from my office, and so getting home and stuff, and getting my kids every other weekend. It's kind of a hassle for me to really get into the decorating thing. Once I get retired, which hopefully will not be too far away, and I can actually make a little bit more time to do that. But one thing I was thinking, Kev, with your projectors and maybe with your 3D printer, of course, you could probably buy just regular blank mannequin heads, but like like at the Haunted Mansion, they've got the blank heads that sit there, but then they project the singing ghosts, the singing busts, where they have the face on them. And so it looks like the bust itself is singing, but it's actually the projector.
What?
Yeah, I've seen some stuff like that. They make some for like pumpkins and stuff you can do
at
they? Home. Yeah, it's a singing pumpkin type thing. I've seen a few of them.
Okay. Yeah, it's the singing bust that do grim grinning ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. I think one of them does.
I'm gonna have to look into that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I saw anybody that is on TikTok around Halloween, and heck, even starting right now, you got a lot of those cheap Chinese sellers that are doing like advertisements on TikTok that they're like, you can't get the 12-foot tall skeleton. Well, you can buy it from this Shopify site that was thrown up, and then you'll get it in a month and a half. And it's and you'll get it a lot cheaper, but it's just because it's the Chinese factory is just because they don't do patents and stuff over there, so they'll just take American stuff and just copy it and sell it for third the price, but takes you a month and a half to get it. But they've even had some come up. I remember last year there was a company that was selling the pumpkins that it had an internal projector that it was actually projecting onto a mesh, and they actually had their own music module that the music would play, and then they would talk, and it was like their face was moving and everything. But you can never tell what the quality is going to be. Of course, when they show it, it's a video that's been doctored, and then when you get it, it's like it's something you bought at the Dollar Tree,
the McDonald's at home.
Yeah. So I totally get that. I'm actually gonna look into that. That sounds really cool. my goal is to do one new really cool thing every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't want to ever get to the point where I'm like necessarily the person that everybody comes to visit, but I think it eventually will get to that point where it's like, all right, there's a Halloween dude in the neighborhood, and it's that guy. He always does Halloween because I know he's got all those costumes and he does all that crazy stuff, and you know, it'll probably be me. And I think I've already kind of been nominated to be that guy anyway, because I'm the guy who started doing the projected stuff, you know, over a month before Halloween, just so that everybody knew that the new guy in the neighborhood was the guy to come get candy from.
So the big question: do you do the full size candy bars?
Yes, I did. I did last year.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to come trick or treat at your house this year.
You're doing Sam Hain's work.
Yep.
I fully admit this goes back to being the Gen X introvert. We'll do like a neighborhood trunk or treat, so we'll go set up and get into costume. Like a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic, we got in our Anna and our Kristoff outfits, and we went and we did a trunk or treat where the parents could bring kids in safely and stuff, you know, through parking lots and all. So we normally will shut the lights off in the house so kids don't see out. Granted, in this neighborhood, there's not a lot of kids anyway, so we don't really see an influx, but normally we'll turn off the lights and eat the candy ourselves.
I picture both of you sitting there like Gollum. Well, he was, you know. Yes. Can I have a candy bar, honey? No.
Well, I mean,
my hair.
I mean, have you had a Reese's peanut butter pumpkin cup? You know what I'm saying? The pumpkin peanut butter cup. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't get those out. Those go into my shame on me doctor fund. He busses at me. Your sugar levels, boy. Sorry, doc.
The sugar.
Speaking of candy, did you see that Little Debbie snuck out a new cake? And Little Debbie, in the event that you guys are not familiar, is, you know, that's kind of a big Southern thing, right? It was a cookies and cream cake.
Cookies and cream brownie. That's
brownie,
right.
yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, cookies and cream brownie.
This is on shelves now?
I believe so.
Yes.
I think who is it? I think the ostrich tweeted something out about it.
That's how I know about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that, and he was like, "Yeah, you see, Little Debbie just tried to nonchalantly just drop a brand new brownie on us, but you know I found it, and here it is."
I'm gonna have to try that. My son loves cookies and cream stuff. Try to find that.
He seemed to think it was really good. So,
well, I mean, as you can probably see from my well physique, I've tested many of Little Debbie's products, and I've yet to find one that I'm like, you know what, this is terrible. No, they're all great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's like the legend of the Christmas tree cakes.
Oh gosh!
Everybody! If you're a Southerner, if you go to a Southerner's house and you open up their freezer, like if you're just one of those people and you just go and snoop in their stuff, if you open their freezer and in there somewhere you don't see that they've got a frozen Christmas tree cake, it just knocks them down like 5 pegs, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a Christmas tree cake because Christmas tree cakes are better frozen. It's just you get them out and they're cold. They're so good. And you want to save one because, you know, you go through the whole box and then you're like, man, I got to keep one of these because, you know, they're going to go out of season and we can't get them. And there's really nothing that tastes like Christmas tree cakes.
Yeah, it's just such a distinct, like, I don't know what it is they have. It is just, that's exactly, like I said, a blind taste test. You would know what it was instantly.
Mm-hmm.
There really isn't anything that tastes like a Christmas tree cake. I'm trying to think of something that's even similar, really. And
it's another Little Debbie product. Zebra cakes?
Zebra cakes is close. Yeah, it's close. It's the consistency.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think they have like Easter, they have like other seasonal holiday ones, but some things are why I think they just save something just for the Christmas tree cake.
I don't know if it's just the combination of the way that they do the shell and then they do the sprinkles on top.
Yeah.
I think that's what does it. Is what makes it like it's not like any of the other ones.
Yeah, the crystallized sprinkles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Little Debbie, in the event that you'd like to reach out to us for sponsorship, email is bamageeks@gmail.com.
Exactly. We are fully open to that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the Christmas tree cake might be the one thing of Christmas I would be all right seeing out before Halloween, you know? That tells you the power of it.
Seriously. I mean, that would be perfect. I agree wholeheartedly. That would be something that would be incredibly welcome. if you're like going to Walmart and you go down the Halloween aisles, which, they don't have out yet, but they're doing the fall stuff already.
Yeah.
But they go down the Halloween aisles and then you just see like an end cap with Christmas tree cakes on it. I would be perfectly fine with that. That would be okay.
Speaking of end caps.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Guess what's on our end caps here in the Birmingham, Alabama area? Finally. Picked up a couple of boxes yesterday. Ghostbusters Afterlife cereal.
Ooh.
They're on the end caps around Birmingham, so they're in the state. Finally, General Mills. Finally,
and Jess messaged me that the marshmallows are showing up too.
Yeah. When she was at the grocery store today, she found those. So, yeah, General Mills, thank you for finding Alabama on a map. Finally, well, this state is the last place to get anything, and
NECA Ninja Turtles.
You're going to have to go into one of those Chinese sites that Kevin mentioned.
Yeah, that's probably
get your knockoff turtles.
Get my Damarello.
Yeah. So yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife cereal. If you're here in Alabama, start looking for them. I found quite a few boxes on the end cap yesterday.
And that was at the Hoover Walmart, right? That was at the one at John Hawkins Parkway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's where we found them. So. And Bo brought up the NECA Turtles. We both squealed with delight because I got a shipping confirmation on the April O'Neil movie figures. They're going to be here Tuesday. Not 2 minutes after I got that, Bo sends me a message. Oh my goodness, I got my shipping confirmation on April. I'm like, yeah, me too. I can just imagine Bo and I like, giddy schoolgirls. Her knees are coming. It's a huge online controversy, apparently, among fanboys, the way NECA did her knees on the figure. As long as they're functional, who cares?
Yeah.
But Judith Hogue is about to be in our homes.
I'm getting a figure of, a 30-year-old movie from my youth. I'm happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Are you scheduled to arrive Tuesday?
Mine, actually, I thought I had an email saying FedEx it was going to try to deliver today, but I don't think they deliver on Sunday.
They do. They absolutely do.
As far as I know, they didn't get. I need to check my shipping.
They will on occasion,
but it was like middle of the day, so I don't. It might have been like they sent it out, and it'll probably be tomorrow, which is fine.
Yeah, mine said Tuesday. It might show up tomorrow. Who knows? But they're coming. They're about to be.
Yeah,
here.
Exactly.
We're going to get them.
At least it's not the mail that's sending it, right, Brock?
This is not Walmart.
The USPS.
I'm trying to get you wound out there, Brock, but that's the joke.
Well, look, we've got to find something about Walmart that ticks you off, you and Jess off about Walmart, because I have the struggle of getting the turtles. Brock has the shipping and packaging issue with Walmart. We've got to find the thing. Well, you were employed by Walmart, so I guess that might be.
Yeah, that's
ages ago.
That's why Walmart's
ago.
okay with me. I just know what to expect. I mean, I worked for Walmart for 6 years back before I went to college, and yeah, that place. Yeah, yeah. When you guys talk from a customer's perspective about them badly, I'm like, yeah, I'm over here kind of just holding my breath, or just kind of just sitting here going smug, going, yeah, I know why it's that way.
Well,
they haven't changed much since I was there.
I will absolutely talk trash about Amazon. I even reached out to them on Twitter yesterday and got feedback from them. They the new Ghostbusters Afterlife Fright Features figures that are out. I got I got Winston from them a few days ago, and they sent them one of those padded envelopes. This figure, and I'm like, okay, it wasn't terrible. I can flatten the card back out. My Bankman arrived yesterday, and the card was bent up, and the bubble was already torn halfway off because they shipped it in another padded envelope. And so I fired off to Amazon on Twitter, and I'm like, hey, you guys are better than this. What's going on? And they actually reached out and said, we're so sorry. Would you like to return it? And I said, no, I'll go ahead and open it, because I was going to get one to open and one to, one to leave in the package. I said, but this is not what I expect out of you. You guys have not done this to me. This is the second figure I've gotten this week that has been in the flimsy padded envelope. Do better. And they're like, thank you for your feedback. We'll send it to. Yeah. It ain't gonna change.
Did they ship out of Bessemer?
Probably not. Like, it's weird.
No,
like we've got one near us, but like, to me, I don't know. 99% of my packages come from usually about About 75% comes from Chattanooga, and then a few come from Kentucky.
And the thing is, even if they do ship from Bessemer, they go to Atlanta beforehand.
That is the weirdest thing.
And I'm like, look, I live just a few miles from you. Let me come pick it up.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I'm willing to bet that it would be different if you, instead of, and maybe this is something to think about. Maybe instead of doing that, if you know it ships out of somewhere close, have them put it in an Amazon locker. I think they treat those differently so that you could actually have it put in an Amazon locker. You go pick it up, and I think they do the deliveries on that with their Amazon trucks.
Yeah, I don't know. I did reach out to them at one point, and I asked them specifically not to send anything through the U.S. Postal Service anymore because I was having such a hard time with our postal guy. And they wrote back and they said, we actually can't anticipate how we're sending it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, so they probably can't anticipate where it's going to ship out from enough.
That's always been a problem with them. I mean, I used to have when I lived in my previous house, I had all kinds of trouble with them, with USPS not doing the right thing. And I'm like, can I just set a preferred carrier for this? And they're like, no, we can't do that. Because I think the reason they do that is because they use the best rates depending on the size of and I understand now that I'm more into one of the things, what I do for a living is building e-commerce websites. And now that I'm more into e-commerce and I understand how shipping works, that is absolutely crucial for a lot of companies, is to be able to negotiate. Like, this is under 1 pound. It's cheaper with this. This is 1 pound to 5 pounds. It's cheaper with this. So if they can't do that, then they lose money.
Yeah.
And that would be a huge deal for Amazon, I would think. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll get it straightened out. Maybe the feedback was, I wasn't mean or anything. I just said, I expect better out of you because you've always treated me better. And they're like, yeah, we're so sorry. But the figure is really neat, though. I did go ahead and open it, and he came with the little Zool fright feature and push a little button on the back, and his mouth opens up wide with a big yellow tongue and everything else. It's really cool.
Yeah, they've got me really interested too, because I've seen a couple of people post about how they collect them, and I was really surprised that they were collecting them. So that's kind of got me. I was like, okay, that shows you how pretty good they are. You know,
it's a kids line. This is the Afterlife kids version of the fright feature figures, but they're super good. I mean, they definitely have that kid toy look to them, but they're really neat. So if you have thought about getting these, I highly recommend them. They're neat.
I like the color. Like, they're colorful and bright. Mm-hmm. They're not, it's not ridiculous. Like, it fits for a toy, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The little terror dog is the little Zool is kind of a cauliflower blue.
Mm-hmm.
And when you press the button on the back, his tongue is a kind of a bright orangish yellow, and the inside of his mouth is a bright orangish yellow. It's very colorful, but it's really neat. So
I've seen the Ecto for those figures. I've been wanting to get it, but I'm trying to be the cool collector. I'm trying to find the one of the variant boxes, the one with Phoebe in her flight suit. That's the one I want.
I've only seen those show up in Canada so far.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of the irregular one, which I need to get one before it's over with. Yeah.
Well, guys, anything else for the night, for this episode?
Hey, I got the gush about Halloween, so that's my goal.
You good?
I'm good. I'm all in Halloween mode now. So,
well, as we said, next episode's going to be a few weeks away. Well, we'll probably drop a very quick "Hi, how are you? We're not here." Like I said, just to keep the upload count going and everything. But the next time that we're scheduled to record, we're going to be at Dragon Con, so we're going to be a little preoccupied. At least I hope we're at Dragon Con. As long as we get back our negative COVID test, we'll be at Dragon Con. If not, then I don't know. Maybe one of us will just pop on here and do a few minutes. Who knows? But if that's not the case, then you'll see us again in probably about a month with another full episode. But keep checking in on our social media, which is at Bama Geeks on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And hit us up, bamageeks@gmail.com, if you want to reach out that way. And check us out wherever you can find the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you can find us. Give us a listen, reach out, say hi. And if you do listen through Apple, through iTunes, please drop us off a 5-star review, and we appreciate it. Anything that you can do to help us grow the show, which the downloads look great, we appreciate it. We appreciate the support. And hopefully next time Jess will be back with us and feeling a lot better. Just mainly, she feels fine. You can't understand what she's saying because her voice is gone. That's it.
I'm Kevin. And then what we usually do at the end, I'm Kevin. So, and you go, I'm Bo. And then, and then we go,
no, you're Kevin and I'm Bo, not that. Come on.
Yeah. What? No.
So we'll go ahead and wrap it up and say goodbye.
It's been fun, guys. This is Kevin, and we'll see you next time.
As always, guys, y'all take care. We will we next time record, we'll be probably, like I said, we've been talking to build up to Dragon Con. We'll be talking post Dragon Con, so we look forward to that.
Yep. And on behalf of Jess, I'm Brock, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.